Yes. Hello. Hi. Welcome. It's nice to have you join us once again for an online webinar or online seminar conducted by SLRAC. You can observe it in the background once to my right, facade systems, or also to the left, let's say, the presentation. I am very pleased that so many of you are here. We are talking about a new innovative system, and the SLRAC facade system, you will see it soon. It will impress you, I would say. Overwhelmed is maybe the wrong expression, because then it is just aluminum. But it will convince you, and I promise you that. My name is Florian Aketz. Nice to have you with us. Maybe for you again briefly, use the chat function. It is an anonymous online seminar that you can also watch afterwards. So if you are unable to get enough of SLRAC, if you feel like us, then make sure to check it out non-stop. We would be happy to send you the online seminars afterwards, and you can also access them on the website or even click on them via Solar Pro Tool and access them barrier-free. Yes, what is the facade about? Or what is actually very important, perhaps beforehand, before we delve into the facade, just an overview. And facade, very clearly, on the one hand, you can see it in the background in the photo, aesthetically on the wall. One person says, okay, it's very modern, with facades, PV systems, visually decent and cleanly integrated, and in combination with heat pumps, that is a very interesting aspect. Just our Austrian friends, I have to welcome them today. I didn't do that in the first seminar of the day. It's vital that they're there. Then we have the topic of snow. Now you can say climate warming or not, the snow is decreasing, but no. Facade, heat pump, a really cool combination. Either the roofs are full or fixed feed-in systems. We want to add self-consumption. Then I have the choice of utilizing a facade with module inverters, NFS, and so on. Or any other thing that exists, just include it in a neat and organized manner. And then I have my opportunity to create a self-consumption system, even if my building is already full. Long speech, the facade may be a niche product that we have in the PV area, because of course there is also a window somewhere on the wall or wherever or on the house wall in the residential area. Not always fitting, meaning you must see how to do it. Big hall at the industrial hall, like we have in our production. For instance, we have the new facade system, visible in the background. Let's assemble now, the hall will be full. And that means there are different applications, trade, industry, residential. And in order to cover this application, I will simply demonstrate to you the way in which we do it. This is a very simple idea that we have, which we are implementing here. The electrician has a question. Are the modules approved by the Building Supervisory Authority? I start completely differently. I thank our partner SolarWatt for providing 2 solar modules, glass modules, transparent, translucent. And yes, the SolarWatt modules have a building approval. And I advise you, Martin Kunze, that would be the right contact person in this case, simply to ask for a normative, do I need it or do I not need it? I don't want to talk about that today, I assume. There is a distinction between the public and private sectors. One person says, I don't care, I will just do it. The other person says, hold on, there are regulations, etc. I suggest it there. But that's another subject, I don't want to discuss it. I want to demonstrate why the SLRAC facade system, the new facade system, we didn't have one until now. We had an insert system, I'll put it this way, violated the construction, the facade system. Why you should utilize this, what the facets are, I will delve into that immediately. Björn, let us assume 1 month, 1.5 months, which is the maximum worst case scenario sound. The volume, highs, I don't know if it's my fault, we turn up once. Fits, should work. As I mentioned, the initial rails and components are en route. You can swiftly acquire them, place them in storage, or take any desired action. We are on our way to the presentation, and we will start right away. So, could you please tell us what are the advantages of SL-Rig facade hybrid insert systems? Hybrid topic, we'll do that immediately. Fast assembly, easy installation, pre-assembled parts. That means everything you see right now is pre-assembled. Or everything that is also here in the background, except for the rail on which I just pressed, it is still not securely fastened, rattled. Everything is pre-assembled. That means you assemble, and I'm also so incredibly happy about it because it's so easy again. purchase a laser device for yourself and affix it horizontally to the facade by utilizing the screw fasteners that come with the product. The dowels or whatever comes as a fastening. Another topic we'll discuss later. You can install the tracks on your own. They need the laser and it is pre-assembled and then it is easy. The whole thing about the modular construction, and it makes installation and maintenance easier. For those who can't get enough, visit the website now. Components included in the download area. Let's also quickly duplicate the link. And the prerequisite for the facade is, of course, that it must be aesthetically pleasing. So that means I also have here, I can show it briefly. We stay on the presentation. I possess the entire thing in silver here, just for the purpose of demonstration. No, the trend is moving towards black. It has to adapt. It has to be clean and balanced, just like it is in the background. It could be more extreme if you use complete full black in this particular scenario. You don't see it now. When I look there, it's completely black. This is maybe a bit distorted from the image. I would like to provide you with the advantages that we consider to be essential for facade systems, specifically personal protection and prevention of property damage. These are the two most important points that I personally also consider in meeting the requirement at the facade site. See you soon. Formation of moss on the tracks. There is no rattling and wind noises coming from the modules in the tracks. Clear? Regardless of region, if wind blows, the whole thing can rattle no matter where you are in. I can now provide more relief with foam rubber, and no one is immune to an insert system because over the years the material naturally changes and we are not clamped. Using a standard insertion system, you have an insertion, but then it rattles due to its simplistic design and lack of stability. And the next thing is the whole thing expands. That means, due to thermal expansion minus 10 degrees, because the gyre reg will be 80 degrees below the modules can move, they are simply not fixed. This is the first reason why I say I have to think of something that brings a benefit. This is how we have the intelligent hybrid technology. Speak. This is not a combustion engine combined with electric. No need to mention it now, but our hybrid technology is simple. Insertion system combined with fixation, including equipotential bonding. This means that in the insertion system, there is no potential equalization, but plates or other inserts may need to be added to ensure compliance. No, we cover all of that. And of course, you know us. With us, there is only Torx 40. We have complete coverage for all your needs. You won't get it easier than what you're about to see with live assembly. Let's continue. Let's look at the profiles or the arrangement. We have two basic profiles, and you can see these two basic profiles in the presentation. For simple horizontal installation, rail length, 1750. And for the full vertical installation, so once briefly, that would now be the short rail length, as you can see it from me on the left in the presentation, and then the long rail length measuring 4,575 millimeters for the, let's say, large area installation, just to have two options available here for different scenarios and requirements. Very important. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Because we naturally see that the facade is a niche product. Our goal is to enable the option to send that in the background, even with the lowest shipping costs, using the short rails for maximum efficiency. You can choose to go over 2 meters, probably through DHL or bulky goods. I'm not a logistician now. It's vital that something like this can be sent inexpensively. You can screw it onto the balcony, the facade. That would be a balcony power plant on the facade, for example, and such topics can also be addressed. Something for all? Very important to me. We're examining the profiles. Looks complicated, it's not. There are 3 profiles. The profile below, middle, and above. And these 3 profiles all have one thing in common. You have an integrated equipotential bonding. We can observe that right here in an experimental setup. That implies module frames are securely fastened. You observe this particular area. I will provide a brief demonstration of it once. This is an incredibly impressive and remarkable profile. That signifies I possess the opportunity to clamp at this location module frame 28 to 50 if I have it stored in my mind. The solar watt modules in the background have a slightly stronger frame. Others go down to 30 to 28. Here you have the opportunity to customize your frame. And the topic of screws? On top, I will show you stainless steel Torx 40 and also how to cover it up visually also as theft protection. End caps for it. Quite a fine story. Very important. What you see on the slide is pre-assembled. In my hand is pre-assembled. It comes pre-assembled to you. In the end, there are 3 types of rails. The end cap and the cover, that is the basic equipment of the facade system, fixed exclusively. You have to look at them separately. We're examining the third rail. The third rail is the one anodized on top. You can see the lengths again. I don't think we need to delve deeper. And then these profiles are presented at the end. Clicking here, let's check, can be a cool solution. And they come wrapped. That means what you see, what the appearance is, and not scratched on the spot. This is very important to us. Simple click assembly and conceal the screws of the profile. The screws, as seen in the presentation now, are silver or stainless steel colored. We don't want that, and it ensures an aesthetic picture. Yes, end caps complete the whole, though these end caps here are totally different from those in other systems. Our end caps are nothing but the visual, fine, beautiful finish. There are both left and right end caps in existence. Now you'll say, we're solving ones with different module heights. End caps can be broken off. There is a perforation or an interface present in this location where you have the option to easily tear it off and then obtain an end cap that can be clicked on. No, not applicable to laminates, but only for framed modules. This is exclusively intended for framed modules. And Marcus has a question, can the rails be easily cut? Yes, you have to. In the worst case, you have to extend or cut. We'll get to the extension right away. And when cutting, it's the same. In the end, you have the profile. You just have to screw it together so that it is not movable. And then you trim it. The precise trimming is your choice. And the optics and this straight diagonal trimming is not an issue whatsoever. You will also have to, because at some point, the most beautiful facade to the end and the rail can maybe be longer. Also end caps, left and right. For all profiles, the same cap. And in this location, you have the ability to break down individual strips. We are able to see that right here at the back. Here is the visual view again, how it looks from the side. I think SL Rack is part of the logo. You'll understand, this is very important. But if we look at it now, we assemble it together, or now the accessory components are coming, because here we also have changes. We have been waiting for it for a long time. I have announced it many times. This is the new cross connector. During this, obviously, these profile rails here, and the entire thing should also be very low. So the requirements for the facade naturally also provide us something here. We have to take action here. We have to follow up on this. We have updated our cross connector and are updating our external connector. I will demonstrate to you briefly in the close-up the 2 products that I have. You can observe it in this location. That implies our external connector will become thinner, will become lower in height. He is seen like this. I will measure him again, because it is quite interesting. In the unmounted height, it has 25, and when it is fully assembled, the maximum height is still 2 centimeters maximum. And that is a very fine story. This implies that this component will soon take the place of the outdated external connector. Or in other terms, you also have the option to keep using the old external connector. With the frontage, it actually functions, and then you need to modify something regarding it in the system and utilize the new one. Let's have a quick look at it. If you examine it from the perspective, then it is similar to how it was in the past. Once you unscrew and fasten it, the task is finished. Or in other words, when I have my facade profile, this is where it goes in. I have now screwed it down too much. This is my fault now. Then I will keep working with the profile. That means I can expand these facade profiles that are here with the external connector. Now it is very important, cross connector. I would like to address the topic right away, if of course the cross connector comes into play now. That means I have a basic rail and want to mount the facade on it. I have it in our new cross connector. I click on it. You can see that the thing is no longer for hanging and screwing. I can move it, but it holds against slipping. Then I continue with my facade profile and attach the entire thing. And then it is like When you take a look at the entirety of the thing, then I have it right here with me. The construction height is reached, and the whole thing holds perfectly. I may need to tighten one more very tightly. I have torque setting here. So, at present he is repaired. That was an error on my part at this moment. And now the component is nearly fully repaired. That implies, when you are positioned in front of the building at the exterior, do you have a basic rail that is extended? You have the basic profile. The insert profile, this is how I have to do it. This is what it looks like on the facade. You can use black or customize it. It's crucial for me to mention these possibilities exist. On the next slide, we'll see more accessory components. We don't have any more, but I have to mention that we still have the screwdriver attachment. I'd like to mention this briefly here. Let's delve into the detailed recording briefly. The screwdriver attachment is crucial. This one changes too. I have the old screw set here. These alterations occur in a manner that allows for the possibility of adjusting the zoom level slightly, resulting in changes to the fixation and waveform. If you have any questions here, please contact order@slrec.de. What changes and why it changes? Product catalogs will be updated for you promptly. As I said, it is important for you that the stock screw attachment grips properly here on the facade. And that is the exact reason why we have made preparations for a small update specifically for you. In simpler terms, the attachment we currently have in stock for screws is a trendy component for attachment to the facade. I have a long hole here. I fix the rail. I can build the facade rail perfectly on the wall, as shown in the background. I can then adjust it with the dowel screw attachment when I have drilled my hole, and thus have my fastening on the wall to be able to work cleanly here. Now I believe we have two questions in a nutshell. And indeed, is it possible to utilize this system on the roof, the insert system, or the facade system as well? You can ensure that, you can state that, it is inherent, it might be the exertion of the gathering. Then different from the classic insertion system. I would like to assemble it now, I have to say, because you simply have the option to either use it as horizontal modules or standing. Then you have the option that it also looks great visually, and you have everything fixed. In a manner similar to cross connectors, rails are included in the Soliboro tool as per the existing plan. So if you have already planned it, you build it on the roof in the same way. The planning tool will of course be integrated into the existing planning tool, that is clear. The process of conversion will also take place within the next period of time. Until that time arrives, it will be necessary to manually rekey the data by walking on foot. Our colleagues have the ability to do that either in technical sales or in inside sales. They can be reached at extension 200 or extension 170. The problem with the old insertion system is an old problem. The rail length is just like that. We can certainly make special rails. Of course, it is also the case here that the rail length will probably never fit. So it fits for the 4 modules or also for the lying modules. But at some point you have to cut, you have to add. Here, we have the possibility that instead of another 4 rail, you can add a short rail and the customer can install it cleanly, or you as a customer can install it with a small addition, and you can keep working. Nice then, that through this opening, which we now connect, it is like with the cable duct. You just navigate the interface and the separation point on the profile is no longer visible to you. Well, I would say that we have now addressed all aspects in terms of components, parts, and nail components completely and thoroughly. Now we're going to the wall, installing modules. When assembling the modules, we also assemble them to attach the cover and simply assemble a facade. And we have just started now. Just a sec, slide the chat away. You'll see the brick band in the background, and it looks absolutely wonderful. And now we're off. I have here my 9 transparent modules. I don't know how you do it. I always take a module like this, regardless of its weight or length. When it comes to the facade system, without discussing the technology, I'll handle it right away. I grab the module. I take it like an install system and insert the module into the designated slot. And this is what we have now. Absolute madness. Means I can install a facade on my own. And that's what I like. That means I have already mentioned that if you go directly to the wall with the dowel screw attachment, with the center profile or with the 3 profiles, aligning it with a laser, then you can hang in module by module. If she is on the ground now, otherwise with the lift or scaffolding or whatever, and in other words, now I'm going to install the second module and tighten it. And that is merely the pleasant and cool thing. I will now simply take the component, hang it here, whether lying down horizontally or standing upright vertically. That holds. I don't have to do anything. I'll sort that out. And if the facade were longer now, that is, if you had the 4-meter rail here, what would you do? You naturally have to ensure that you protect the entire thing so that it does not somehow fall out. Then, you simply tighten the rail from the side and the modules are securely fixed in place. And we do the same thing down here. And the beautiful thing is the rail goes down and it runs through. That means the same rail runs through here with the screws. I will simply attach it for you in the middle now. Very important. Unsure if visible potential equalization included. Our grounding tower here, next one here, runs throughout. In this regard, it would be, not yet tested, I must mention, lightning current resistant and also tested for potential equalization, as per the installation instructions from the module manufacturer. I'll tighten it now. It'll only take a few minutes. We have one step up inside. So my frontage is completed. What I have not accomplished at this moment, I need to express. Who authored this? Please send the model to Erlstedt ASAP. Wait a sec. The first rails are on their way. It's very fast. You may already apply. The first rails are on their way. So please be patient for another 1, 2, 3 weeks, and then you can start right away. And now I come to my tracks, which are of course a separate scope of delivery. I have to say that. Now I am going to this place, begin here. And I click it all in and it is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I am incredibly happy with it, truly, truly happy. So I have to smile about it myself because it is of course a beautiful, I hope you can see it, beautiful, intelligent cover that I find truly remarkable. And now, I haven't quite got it yet. You can also use a hammer for this, a small mallet or rubber hammer, and that's it. Then the trim is in. I only hurt myself. I'm not a craftsman now. I want to avoid that. Very important now we have the optical diaphragm. Maybe we zoom in here, maybe we can do that once. We are now completely closed. I hope you can see that. Maybe a little closer. You can really approach it completely how it looks here. For you too, right away. Come to Intersolar. Take a look at this. We will also be there next week at the Solar Solutions in Bremen, at various trade fair events until then. And thus I also have a rounded system. Now, very important, we keep the camera on it. We stay on it, because at the moment this track could still move. For example, I now have my screw from the stock screw attachment here. I go in there into the slot, hum there with the hammer. On top or using a center punch and other tools, and securely fasten this rail in that location for me. And the fascinating aspect about all of this is I have my theft protection in place with almost no effort required. No one is able to remove or steal a module from the insertion system any longer. No one can relocate anything or bother me, thus preventing vandalism. I can generate theft protection here. Let's take a quick look at it again. I want to show it. I'll take it out briefly. That means I cover these screws, I cover the equipotential bonding. I am the owner of a fully closed and highly secure system. Allow us to return to the close-up view of the situation. From the side perspective, as mentioned, it appears to be a clamped insertion mechanism. You have max security. So as I said, no module is flying out anymore. It is optimally fixed. Personal protection is integrated. So not as a bodyguard, but no one will be injured anymore if a module flies out. And above and below it is currently in silver, but you have the ability to observe how aesthetically it adapts. Or also here in the middle. Or in other words, when we zoom in on the main camera, pictures speak louder than words. It simply looks fantastic. Thus, the end caps are in place, the task is completed, and that constitutes our facade system. I don't have anything else to say. It looks great. It's easy. It is definitely not moss formation. I am unsure if I mentioned that. Perhaps we will go on this once again. Why am I stating this about the formation of moss? In certain systems, moss has formed in this specific slot between the module and module frame, as well as within the system itself. You had to clean more, there are lichens inside, etc. That was my ring now. Nothing works there. This is the module. It's bomb-proof, and that's brilliant. And so it should be, in order for everyone to be able to work perfectly on the facade. I can only offer you the opportunity to take a look at the other online seminars of the day. I can only offer you to come to the trade fairs where we exhibit. If there are any questions, please contact us at sales.slrec.de, send us an email or message, or reach out through the website. And this is highly important, be sure to come to us here, Marcus Abel, in charge of the upper rail featuring the water drain. The rail is designed so that the water can drain off. I may have to show back here what you don't see. Water doesn't come in here, and water on the rail up there could go sideways or can go sideways. And this is a very simple explanation for your question. So, a water drain in the actual sense is not necessary as it is currently. Bernd has an inquiry regarding the mounting on the wall. It is fairly straightforward. Assuming I opt for a lag screw attachment at this time, it is the option I prefer. That means, why is it my favorite solution? Because in every profile, I now have my rail profile. No matter which rail profile we have, I can simply attach my screw-in attachment at the bottom. That is the intelligent thing about STL-Rec, that every rail we are talking about here simply has the possibility of a screw-on attachment. Initially, I just answer yes. A stock screw attachment is possible in the first step. Or also via the trapezoidal fasteners when we go to the trapezoidal facade, and then simply trapezoid 5 or trapezoid 3 plus cross connector, and one can also attach the rail to the facade. These are the choices we currently have. However, we will furnish you with additional details regarding the unique options that are accessible. We are already working on those, don't worry, but not for the moment. Now it's all about the product. Stefan asks, if I use a DIBT module, does the whole system have DIBT? No, it does not, because the module lacks awareness of the type of system that will be integrated beneath it. The building approval is very easy to explain. That means we are also here in the test and will successfully complete it. Basically, it should be mentioned that these rails that we see here are computable components. Can be checked statically, can also be checked computationally, but to have the entire thing without falsehoods, we will also submit the approval for the building. How should I say afterwards? We will submit it for review. Submitted, I know, can't tell when it will naturally happen, but we're also working on this topic. Then you possess a system, which is exclusively for Germany, the building regulatory approval, which is tested, and therefore you are secure when you enter public space. Alternatively, we can of course provide you with the static calculations so that you can build any building with them. This is the answer. I don't know, Stefan, feel free to email me if there are any follow-up questions, if anything is still open. If you are with the competitor, it's not a problem either, then we have talked about the topic now. The topic is not so bad. For the moment, I thank you for your attention. It's great to see the support and the number of participants we had in these first 2 online seminars of the day. Do you want to join us for the 3rd event? That is truly getting deep into the subject matter. It looks completely different, so we naturally want to pass on our expertise and information here and also alleviate fears. And then online seminars are also available in French. We can do that, Roberto, no problem at all. The staff is here, I just don't speak French. But it's also good. Believe me, we can do that. Whereby I have to say, feel free to write briefly even if there is a need in French. Then we can also do that in detail with the colleagues who are present with you or with your customers. But so far, I believe you speak German. Let's see how it turns out. In this sense, you are coming to the third online seminar of the day, then about the topic Central Association of Roofing Trade. I would like to mention this at this point. First and foremost, it's not about the products, but rather about what are the new standards, requirements, what do we need to prepare for, what's happening there. There's a bit of, how should I put it, maybe even fear in the market. I think the ZVDH requirements are brilliant and great. This is also a guideline that is important for us and is essential for you as an installer. Come along, take a look at it. And in this sense, if there are any questions, please write me an email. I say thank you for the moment and definitely take care. See you soon.